When your garden is really producing a lot of leaf lettuce, it can be somewhat of a trauma. You can give so much away, you can eat so many salads, and then what do you do? What I'm going to do today is using leaf lettuce, but I'm going to do a wilted leaf lettuce salad, which is a little bit archaic for a lot of us, to be honest. We don't see that many of them anymore. So what I've done is I've washed it well, and when you wash leaf lettuce, first of all, when you harvest it, you just harvest it one leaf at a time. You don't pull up the whole head. Just harvest off the outside leaves as you go around, and that plant can continue to produce. Then wash it well through at least 2, maybe 3 loads of or rinses of water, submerging it, swishing it, and draining it. And then spin it really well to make sure that it's really dry so that it will accept the dressing and not reject it. Once you get that done, we've got a little bit here that's a little bit wilted already. I'm going to chop it really coarsely. What I want to do is just cut it into big enough chunks that it's somewhat bite-sized. It's not going to wilt. We're not going to wilt it down the way spinach would wilt. So we do need to do a little bit of chopping so that we get it to the point where people can eat it easily and you don't need a fork. I am going to use the equivalent of a whole head. Of a large head, so if you're buying it at the market or at the farmer's market, this would take that whole head. If you're producing your own, then you're going to probably need at least 10 cups of this in order, because we do have a little wilting because we're going to pour some hot dressing over the top of it. Get that out of the way. I have a little bit more elbow room. This was a way that greens were often eaten in some parts of the country and in Europe as well, so that this is somewhat related to a German hot potato salad. It's got that same sweet and sour kind of dressing to it. And along with the greens, I'm going to add a couple of more ingredients to this. I've got 4 to 6 radishes, depending on the size. These were pretty big, so I used the lesser amount. If you like a lot of radishes, add more. If they're getting really spicy and your palate doesn't run that way, you may want to limit it a little bit. I'm also adding about the same number of green onions, so we're using several things that come out of the garden at the same time, which is always a great way to have a recipe work. The last thing I've got here is about 5 pieces of bacon that have been cooked and crumbled. And then we're going to set that aside and work on the dressing. Now for the dressing, I'm going to get the burner started here just a little bit. Use a small saucepan. Now traditionally this recipe would use bacon grease as part of the dressing, and we're eliminating that step. We've browned the bacon and made it nice and crunchy and crispy, and then crumbled it up. And for this dressing we're going to use 1/4 cup of white vinegar, 2 tablespoons of water, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of dry mustard. And we're just going to bring that up to a simmer. Now this recipe is actually something that is done by extension homemakers. This wasn't one of my own creations, so I made sure not to modify it. Often I have to modify recipes to make sure that they are more nutritious, or as nutritious as we can make them. The book is called Living Well. It's a resource book as well as just a cookbook. There's information, lots of recipes in there, but also information on family finances and other aspects of family life too, so that it becomes a resource for all aspects of life, not just the kitchen. It's done by the National Extension Association of Family and Consumer Sciences, which means it's got contributors from your county office, your extension office, in all probability, or there's a good chance. There are recipes from all 50 states in there, so we do have representative recipes from the state of Oklahoma. In fact, you'll see a more healthy version of one of our state meal components, the chicken fried steak, so you can find all kinds of things in there, as well as lots of recipes from in other states as well. Okay, we've got this up to a simmer. That's all that needed to happen on it. And we're going to now pour it over while it's still nice and hot, which is what causes some of the wilting, and you can see it go down a little bit, but it's going to chill down real quickly when it gets over everything. So next step, as you can see, that's a very quick salad. You could cut the recipe in half if you didn't have quite as many people to serve. It makes a great main course meal if you add a little bit of egg to it, for instance, or a little bit of ham to it that could make it a main course, or chicken, or cheese, or dried beans. All of those things would create a full meal for you. Toss it around so that all parts of the salad are coated with the dressing, and you're ready to go. Now, because this is a wilted salad, it is important that you serve it right away after you dress it. So if your family's not ready or if the meal's not quite ready, you're going to want to wait a little bit before you put some of the final touches on. See if I can get some of the special ingredients here on the top. And there you go. You can get a link to the cookbook on the Oklahoma Gardening website under the recipe section, and specifically under this recipe, which is wilted garden leaf lettuce. I hope you'll try this one. For Oklahoma Gardening, this is Barbara Brown.